They saved me 41% versus any other company I looked at.
41%? That's huge.
Yep. Health IQ starts by shopping everyone with the top 30 life insurance carriers to make sure they can get the lowest retail rate. Then they apply their exclusive healthy lifestyle savings, which can save you up to 41%. I literally got $1 million in coverage for my family for just $36 a month.
Just $36 a month?
Yep. You should check it out at healthiq.com/easy.
To save that much money, I'm going to call them right now. What's that link again? healthiq.com/easy?
Yep. healthiq.com/easy.
Life, Love, and the Grind is sponsored by Life, Love, and the Grind Limited, and to the extent applicable, their guests. The views and opinions expressed therein do not necessarily reflect those of News Web Radio Company or its management.
All right, thanks for tuning in. Life, Love, and the Grind. You have Sean and a new guest today, our usual producer behind the scenes, Sarah Sadet's going to be joining me today on the show. What's going on, Sarah?
Hey, Sean. I don't know. I got very comfortable hosting with you yesterday that I decided just to carry it over. Plus, you know, my husband's out in the field. So this is better. I mean, what better way to do a producer / doing it in front of the camera for you guys?
Absolutely.
As well as on the radio. So thank you so much for having me today. I mean, it's when we started this, the three of us, we never knew that, you know, we would have so many different topics and so much different agenda items to cover every single
So many
week.
incredible guests that just keep coming out of the woodwork. It's kind of been exciting.
The guests for sure. I mean, last night was fantastic with the lineup that we had of all of the people, all the elected officials wanting to come and stop and say their 2 seconds as to what it is that they would like to see happen in their next election run, why it was so important to run to begin with, and why is it so important to continue to make a difference. I mean, the gala last night, if you guys didn't tune in, Tom Hartman started us off, and then we had quite a few lineups.
So we went live from Drury Lane and Oak Brook Terrace. We went live, myself, you, Raza. We had the privilege of speaking with Tom Hartman. If you don't know who Tom Hartman is, please look him up, find him on Facebook, tune into him. He is America's leading progressive radio talk personality. We had Don Harmon, the president of the Illinois Senate. We had Bill Foster for Congress. We had Sean Casten, congressman. We had Cynthia Borbis, chair of the Democratic Party in DuPage. The list goes on and on. It was a great night. It was about 400 people. And now we carry it over today. We're going to get to Denise Schmidt in a minute and talk about what she's got going on with Wazos, Women Entrepreneurs, Secrets of Success, and Mary Jo Mullen coming a little bit later. And she's an elected Lyle Township trustee and running for county board, among many, many other things. I'm excited about Mary Jo too. But yeah, last night was exciting on our first kind of live show, kind of in a big event. It was about 450 people.
It was. And you know what? We went out there, we rocked it. But like I said, it was all about the elected politicians that were stopping by and making sure that they continue to encourage us to vote. The primaries are coming up March 17th. Make sure that you guys are going out there and making your voices be heard. You know, today is 1st of March. It's National Women's History Month. I just want to make a shout out to all the suffrage rights of all the women and the numerous women that were paving the path for us. And we continue to fight for voters' right, especially in our where we are right now as a society. It is utmost powerful and the most important thing that we can do as women, as anybody, per se, just to go out there and continue to vote like-minded individuals, vote individuals that will stand for your value, for your belief, and continue to make a difference. You know, you want to have that strive, not just in who you're doing or what you're doing, but continue to progress our nation moving forward. So that's my 2 seconds from the 1920s Women's Suffrage Act. Thank you so much for all of the previous women that came before us and all of the ones that continue to move us forward. So this episode, we're going to call this Women on the Move. And what better way to have women on the move than with Denise and Mary Jo joining us?
Yeah. So why don't we introduce our first guest, Denise Schmidt. This is exciting. Like you said, Women on the Move, 3 powerful women and me. So I'm going to just leave it to you ladies to kind of rock out and tell us your story. So Denise, thanks for coming on the show.
Hi, Sean. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah. So tell us about this Wazos.
Well, first I'm going to correct you. It's Wesos.
Wesos. Sorry, I said it right. I said it wrong.
It's okay.
I apologize.
It was a
It's the women part of it, right?
yeah,
exactly.
Wesos.
Wesos.
It was an organizational shift to start calling women entrepreneurs secrets of success. Wesos. We also had women within the organization who crafted the term Wesos sisters. That's what we refer to each other as. It's a mouthful. That whole women entrepreneurs secrets of success, shortening it down to Wesos made sense. Wesos is an organization that exists specifically as a support structure for women business owners. It was started about 7 years ago by my partner, Jean LaValle. Jean's the founder of Wesos. I kind of came on a little bit later, and I am the operating officer for the network part of things, and also the executive director for our charitable foundation.
Okay. So, what was the need that between Jean and you? Why even have an organization for entrepreneurs? I mean, it seems like women entrepreneurs are out there, they're go-getters. Why give them support? What is lacking that made this organization come to be?
Well, the statistics are great. 60% of all new businesses are being opened by women, specifically minority women, who are out leading the field, which is phenomenal since only 6% of the Fortune 1000 have a C-suite with a woman in it. So there's that dichotomy between what we think we want to do and what we're really supported to be able to do. The base pillar of Wesos is authentic relationships. It's very easy to put on the mask of perfection when you think that's the only way you can succeed as a woman business owner. We really encourage people, let's strip that off and look at each other as the person that can either help us or the person we can help. So as an authentic relationship, Wesos is built so that we don't sell to one another. It's like the only thing we tell people never to do is sell to each other. I'd rather know why you decided to be an independent rep for a specific company and what that company does for your family, why it's important to you, rather than for you to try to sell me your product on a regular basis.
So kind of like a therapy group, basically.
You know, I laughingly say to people, Wesos is networking 101, not networking 101. It's more networking 104.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to know how to network with people, but I don't want you to sell to them. I want you to be able to collaborate with somebody in the same room without feeling like you need to be in competition all the time. So it's really a slightly different shift, and it's a very female shift in how to do business networking.
Yeah. And so it's no age limits, right?
No.
So you can from 18 to
I have
80.
I have a lifetime member, because we had lifetime memberships, who was 16 when she became a lifetime member, and I have people in their 80s. And I don't care if it's your first week in business, or if you're like me and you've built and sold 3 or 4 different businesses. Anybody has the ability, if you are female or identify as such, and own a business in which you are responsible for your own income. Don't care if that's as an independent rep or if you've built something brick and mortar all the way up, you're eligible to come to a Wesos meeting.
And how important is it to have, like you say, like just that comfort of these women getting together? And I mean, have you seen the change? Have you seen growth?
I've seen
from day one to a year in, 2 years in.
I have seen people shift their businesses from the minute they walk in and they can barely stand up and say, hi, my name is, and this is what I do for a living. I have one of those ladies who's actually one of our chapter leaders now. Mm-hmm. She came in and literally could not stand up without shaking to introduce herself. And she's an extremely successful entrepreneur who owns a commercial and residential cleaning company. She's now our Schaumburg leader. Hi, Kim, if you're out there listening. We see drastic shifts in people's self-confidence, in their business skills, in their ability to articulate what it is that they do or need to learn from the minute they come to a Wesos meeting for the first time. I can't tell you how many people have said, are you sure this is real? because it's not what they expect. You don't get vultured when you walk in the first day as to a sales process, nor do I ask you to become a member. You can become a member anytime you'd like to.
That's really interesting. So that's your for-profit branch. The fact that you're providing therapy, guidance, relationships, skills, all of that good stuff to people who want to continue to be part of your resource organization. Let's shift a little bit more towards your foundation. What is your vision? Because I hear that you're the president and the executive director for it. And it's a 501c3 charitable organization. What is your mission?
It is. I might have the executive director title, but again, Jean is the partner in this.
Jean and I are a dynamic duo.
Jean and I probably share one brain. It just depends on which day of the week it is, who's making what decision with it. The nonprofit organization portion of this grew out of our desire to make sure that we had the best in educational programming for any woman who walks in the door as a WESOS participant, on anything from designing your logo to making sure you're tax compliant. Also, to create teams of mentors to be able to reach back to women who are looking at business ownership as a way to significantly change their lives and the lives of their families. We wanted to be able to craft a team of people who could really help to round out an education that may not have, very few of us learn how to run a business in school. Very few of us know how to come from a socio or economic background in which money really isn't a skill that you learn as a kid. So now let's try to start a business and create a legacy for our families. Well, you probably need to talk to somebody who's really good in the legal profession, really good in accounting, really good in marketing, and somebody will help you plan that business beyond just a dream that you have at your kitchen table. So we are very blessed within the WESOS organization to have truly exemplary business people on our rosters. We have something called a success strategist. Good morning to all my success strategists, or afternoon, who are giving back to the organization and anybody who's coming up as a potential mentee.
So there's something that, you had a little bit of health scare. You said that there was a story.
Oh, honey, I didn't have a health scare. I had a health slam.
Well, you're a survivor. Let's just say that.
We tell people all the time that the real joy and benefit to WESOS is the relationships that you create within the organization. A year ago in January, one of our leaders, Dina had a personal reason. Her mom had cancer, and she was posting on our Facebook group, make sure you go out and get tested. Make sure whatever you choose to do, you go out and you get tested. So I decided to support a program that she was, I don't want to say pushing, but pushing. And I got a full body thermoscan. And from that, I was told, go see a regular MD for some follow-up on this. And I'm going to condense the entire thing into, I had breast cancer, had a double mastectomy, had immediate reconstruction, was able to avoid chemotherapy and radiation. And as you see, I'm in pretty darn good shape.
Strong and living.
And
incredible.
In positive shape, my doctor actually said that I was frighteningly optimistic and relentlessly focused. And I thought, oh, honey, if you just knew the WESOS women, you would understand that this was not something unusual. So that's a roundabout way of saying the community of women that are part of WESOS are so intermingled, not only on business, because we understand that, you don't put one hat on and take another one off. Most of us are partners, sometimes parents, business owners. You take good care of your parents, you take good care of everybody in your community. That ability to see a person holistically is truly what I think is different about WESOS. We expect you to be a real person when you show up. You're not just a business card or a pamphlet of products.
Which is important in building those relationships and building that, kind of connection as opposed to just selling.
It really is very different. And it really resonates with most of the women who come to us. Now, I'm not going to say everybody walks in the room and thinks, oh my God, I'm going to sing Kumbaya and hold hands around a campfire and we're going to roast
Who would be
marshmallows.
one of those skepticals?
Yeah.
Right?
My very first WESOS meeting, I came in and I thought, my God, they're putting Prozac in the water around here. These are too nice. These women are too nice. And it's not for everybody, because we do ask you to bring your whole self to the table. And that's a pretty unusual request when you're talking about business networking.
You are. I mean, especially since you come from the municipal government. You were an employee for a little bit with the Shorewood Area Commerce.
The Shorewood Area Chamber of Commerce. I was their executive director, as well as president of their board for a while, helped out in municipal government, had built and sold businesses that were as diverse as a travel company for nonprofit fundraising, all the way to regulatory compliance for importers and exporters between them and the federal government and customs regulatory compliance. So I've got an unusually broad business focus, a lens to look through. But whether you're an attorney or a physician, which we have in WESOS, or you've decided that you're working for somebody else to make sure your kids have benefits and you've got a roof over your head and a regular job and paycheck, but you've got a side hustle as well. We've got everybody on that continuum. And if there's anybody out there who's intrigued about joining us, I want to send you to wesosnetwork.com, and that's spelled WESOS network.com. If you want more information about the foundation, there's a little click up at the top too that you can take you straight there, but that's the place I ask everybody to start. It'll tell you who we are, show you where all of our meetings are. We've got about 18 in the Chicagoland area, a few more states like Florida, Colorado, and Oregon. And there are always new chapters coming on board because we go where we're asked to go and where we're needed. So if there's a heavy women entrepreneurial community, you'll eventually find us there.
All right, well, we're going to take a quick commercial break. Stay tuned. We're going to bring Denise back after we bring back Mary Jo Mullen. But wesosnetwork.com.
Correct.
Check out the Women Entrepreneurs, Secrets of Success. I want to thank you. We will be right back, so stay tuned. Shauna Raza.
Financial is an independent retirement and financial services firm dedicated to the working men and women of organized labor. Megan provides straightforward, custom-fit financial advice and specializes in defined benefit and defined contribution pension plans, as well as participant and retiree health and welfare benefits. Megan Financial has the knowledge and experience to navigate the union member through all phases of life. Call 708-444-1090.
Securities and advisory services offered through Cetera Advisors LLC, member FINRA, SIPC, a broker-dealer and registered investment advisor. Cetera is under separate ownership from any other named entity. Office location at 5321 South 94th Avenue, Orland Park, Illinois, 60462.
This is Louis Geyer from GWC Injury Lawyers. Now that cannabis is legal in Illinois, an understanding of the law and the risks associated with ingesting cannabis is critically important. Under the Cannabis Act, you can legally ingest marijuana only in a very limited number of places. Not in public, not on government or school premises, and not even in your own condo or apartment if your landlord has a no smoking policy. A positive test is potentially lethal to your rights in 3 key areas: employment, work injuries, and driving. So if your employer has a zero tolerance drug and alcohol policy, you can be terminated if you fail a drug test, even though your cannabis consumption was legal. If you're hurt on the job and test positive for cannabis, the legal presumption is that your accident was caused in part because of the cannabis, and your workers' compensation rights can be totally denied. DUI laws have not changed. Impaired means impaired. And a DUI due to cannabis or alcohol can ruin your career. If you want to indulge in legal THC before you ingest, read up on your rights at gwclaw.com.
All right, if you're just tuning in, Life Love and the Grind, you have Sean and Sarah here. We just heard from Denise Schmidt with WESOS, Women Entrepreneurs, Secret of Success. We will be bringing her back after our commercial break. But right now we have the very talented Mary Jo Mullen, who, well, I'm going to let you say how many things you have because you have so many hats that you're doing. So I don't want to read through them all.
Before we start with that, it's WISOs, Sean.
Weeso. I'm really struggling with that. I just want to just
You know what?
so
Before we
natural.
bring Denise back, WISO, that was a great
WISOs.
organization, and you know what? Mary Jo actually connected us to her as well. So why don't we give the mic off to Mary Jo? Mary Jo, welcome.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks for coming.
So I do wear a lot of hats. I am a mom of 3 little boys, a wife. I'm a business owner. I started out as a civil engineer, working in stormwater and floodplains my whole career. Started my business originally with the idea that I would be working with women-owned businesses, other small disadvantaged businesses to help them get along better in the federal government work. Because I spent 10 years at FEMA, did a lot of contract work there. And then in 2016, ran for office.
2017.
Well, we started in 16.
Oh, we
the
did.
caucus
Okay,
in
okay.
16.
Yeah.
And then,
Okay.
yeah, so in 2017, Sean and I were elected together in Lyle Township. I'm supervisor and chair of the board there, and Sean is one of our trustees.
No,
That's probably
you know
the best hat you can wear because you get to be
Sit next to Sean.
sit next to me and be on the board as trustees. It's really
I'm
exciting.
going to
for me.
separate you two children for 2 seconds. No, but you come from a very, very interesting background. You are an engineer and you have worked with FEMA for the flood insurance program. Can you tell me a little bit about that, especially when it comes to you being in a situation, since this is, Women on the Move, how did you handle that diversity? The fact that you were most likely one of the very few engineers speaking on behalf of the rest of the women and men that were being impacted by our flood zones.
So when I started off in engineering, there weren't a lot of women really at all in the field. I was usually one of a small handful of women in the firm I worked for. And we were very much the token women, let's bring a woman with us to the meeting to prove to the city of Chicago that we have diversity. I had a friend who was African American woman who was like, checked 2 boxes. So she got to go on a lot of interviews for work. But when I went to FEMA, it's actually interesting in the federal space, there were quite a few more women and more diversity there. So working in engineering as a woman, though, was a little bit intimidating because it was a little bit of, well, you're just a girl. You couldn't possibly know what we're talking about. Why don't you be the one to take notes for the meeting a lot? So
Is that why you got your PMP?
Right.
I'm a project manager by trade. So that is, project managers are not meeting minute note takers,
Right.
guys.
Right.
You guys listening out there, we are not. So
Right.
So
No,
tell
not.
us a little bit more about how did you overcome that? Because you get that even now as the Lyle Township supervisor, right? So the rest of the people that are on your elected slate, they're all men.
No, we have a trustee.
You have a
Right.
trustee.
Originally, like, when we ran, it was me and the guys. But we do have one other woman on the board, and which is actually really wonderful perspective because our board is very diverse. We're bipartisan, which is really nice. We are able to bring a lot of different experiences to the table. And the woman who is on the board with us, Kathy, used to be on the school board for like 10 years. So she has a really interesting, strong background in how you function on the board, how you manage budgets, how you look at things differently that maybe not everyone has from different experiences. But there was a little bit of just kind of forming around our board in the beginning, trying to understand each other, trying to understand where each of us were coming from, what we really wanted out of this. And I didn't feel as much that was because I was a woman as much as I was an outsider to the group that already existed there. In engineering, there was always a lot more of literally there was a time where 2 of my colleagues who were women went to a golf outing for the road builders, were told, you ruin everything. We used to have strippers at every hole on the golf course, and now we can't because of people like you. So, it was far more in the engineering field that you kind of felt like, you're women, you're ruining this all for us.
So it used to be a lot of fun, it sounds like. Those jokes don't play as well when I'm with all women and it's a Women on the Move episode.
We bring fun too.
You do. And
We
it's
do bring a lot
good
of
to
fun.
see, and especially in politics, just this big, 2018 was the women's movement, but just to see so many women in power now in all fields as entrepreneurs, like Denise talked about, and in politics. I know it's a not easy thing, but now it's kind of like the men are kind of on the outside of the political movement, and the women kind of are more elected officials, and it's not a bad thing to see. I think it's kind of bringing a lot of
fabulous.
Exactly. I think it brings a lot of good balance, to be honest.
You know, we talked about side hustles a lot with the previous guests that we had. You know, politics seemed to be a side hustle for a lot of the people as they were kind of getting in. Was that something for you? Is that what you wanted to do when you were noticing things around your town, around things that you can do better?
So it started for me in college, actually, with the mission of public service. That's very much, Notre Dame was very much about that mission. And I had a groundwater professor that ended every semester with a slideshow talking about his work in Haiti, digging wells to bring clean water to villages. And there's a little girl who followed him around in one village. And when they came back a few years later, he asked if she could come out and help again to fix the broken well. And she was gone because while the well was broken, the village went back to drinking dirty water, and she had passed away from one of the waterborne illnesses. So he drove us to be more than just engineers, to be engineers with a mission, have that public service mission. I was at an association meeting for the Illinois Association of State Floodplain Managers. I go to fun things. And we had one of our state reps spoke to us, and this was like 18 years ago. And he was like, I'm the only engineer in all of the state legislature. We need more engineers involved in politics because we make decisions on infrastructure, on storms and floods, and everything that you guys work in every day. And we need people who understand those things better to be a part of the conversation. So that was when I started thinking about it, but I really didn't understand how to go about it. It was someday I'll get to it, you know. Yeah. And then 2016 happened.
Well, I mean, now with your current role and where you're going to be heading next, what is the impact that you can make for the DuPage floodplain area that we have going right now? So that's our immediate issue. Can you enlighten us a little bit according to what your plan would be?
So for me, it's about focusing on resilience. And resilience is more than just fixing what the problems are today. It's about looking forward and being proactive and taking measures that will stop and prevent future flood losses and protecting people and property from flood damage, which is absolutely the mission of the National Flood Insurance Program. I was part of a $1 billion program called Risk Map that I helped shape. And it was about identifying the hazards, analyzing risk, and then telling communities and people and homeowners, here are things and steps you can take to make yourself safer. We can elevate your utilities, you can elevate your home, you can move your home elsewhere. There are plenty of ways that you can be more resilient. It's not just about waiting until the flood happens and then how do you recover from it. There are a lot of things that have changed in flooding in the last 20 years that I've been doing this also. There's something that we've been focusing on a lot more over the last 5 years called urban flooding, where flooding traditionally is the rivers get a lot of water, they rise and flow out of their banks. Mm-hmm. That's what people think of as flooding. Urban flooding is water is getting stuck in neighborhoods that can't get out because the water systems, the drainage systems aren't big enough to handle it. So now you have neighborhoods flooding just because the water can't get away. And that's become the biggest problem in a lot of areas. And there's a lot we can do better in our stormwater regulations. We were kind of the shining star in DuPage County with our regulations when I first started working in engineering. And we have pulled back some of those regs for stormwater management that make us less safe. And now we have a far lower level of regulation than our surrounding counties.
You're absolutely right. There is a capital component to it, right? So there's also municipal borders that prevent you from, going full force. You talked a little bit about what homeowners can do. Can you speak to a little bit about what you can do with the municipal government?
Sure. So within municipalities, the first thing would be higher standards for how we construct and how do we manage stormwater that falls on our properties. A lot of that's done through detention. There's also a lot of native and low impact development measures we can take and we should require more of. That would be planting native vegetation that helps the water soak in and doing more that is more environmentally friendly in our basins that would prevent that flooding, keep water in where it should be and out of people's houses or businesses. A lot of it comes down to regulatory. And then on the preventative side, people talk about flood control. You don't control water, you don't control the flood. Water is far more powerful than you could possibly imagine. Less than a foot of water flowing over a bridge is enough to knock your car off of it. So what it has to be is about flood management and how do we coexist with the water that falls and how do we develop better as municipal governments to keep people out of harm's way.
So what I'm interested in is, before that you got elected on the township, we both did.
Mhm.
It was kind of like an appointment culture, right? Where like someone would get elected and then just kind of move along the lines. And I think like lately in politics, kind of across the board, is you have these extremely qualified people, which I don't think we've seen for a long time in politics. Like it's almost overqualified to get in these positions. How do we continue to get more and more, and women too, especially women, into these political roles in these higher positions that are very qualified for all these positions?
You spend a night in Mary Jo's kitchen table talking about data. That is how I got in.
I thought you were going to say spend the night with you. I was like, whoa.
No, that's literally how I got in. I had a dream, right? Just like all of the other people that are out there. I wanted to make a difference. And Mary Jo was one that kind of connected me towards the data, where the things lie, what doors to knock on, who to go to, and a kind of a strategy around it. So, speak a little to what you have done with the rest of the women that, are in the forefront of running. You're just not a candidate yourself. You're also empowering other women.
Yeah, I try to. I think it's better to run together and stick together than to be off on your own doing your own thing. Because when we all are in it together, we make a lot more change and we get a lot more accomplished. When Sean and I ran, it was kind of a new thing. I've always been a very strategic person, strategic minded. My business is all about strategy consulting. And then we kind of figured things out as we went. We were successful. And then I took a lot of what I learned there and started applying it to future campaigns and worked with you, have volunteered on a lot of other campaigns. I volunteered locally just to walk and canvass and in the office of JB in the last election. So I could also learn how they ran things. And then in 2019 municipals was pretty active in the Village of Lisle and with one particular race in Naperville and some other friends that I kind of met along the way.
You can give them a shout out if you want. You get
Teresa Sullivan.
We want to give credit to the people doing the good work.
Yeah, and it's been exciting to actually also meet new people through my political life. Every cycle, there's a few people that I'm like, man, I'm so happy that these people are part of my life now. Really, I've told Sean this before, that it started with you, that we never would have met if it hadn't been that caucus and both of us, staying up saying I want to run. And every cycle, there's just really new, amazing people who want to do the work, who want to make change that I get to meet and help and work with.
Well, one thing I want to kind of touch on too is, I come from a, union background. I'm with the Bricklayers Union. I'm an organizer. One thing that we push so hard is just hard work, right? Unions are it's just such a hard, tough business to get into, not even into, but just to do. And what I like to highlight is, you guys are elected officials, but what I've seen, especially with the women, is you guys work just as hard, if not harder, every day putting into politics. And I don't think people really know the behind the scenes of how much work it takes to run a business, run a family, and then run for politics, knock doors, be at God only knows how many events a week. So just to give a shout out, I just want to let people know that it's not, you guys don't get anything easy. Things aren't given to women just because, they're women. That you guys, and I've seen it firsthand, work just as hard and put in grueling hours. And politics is no joke. People see it, it's this and that, and it's all, whatever BS, but it takes a lot of work to do what political women do and in business. So to do both of it is just really, it's a testament to you guys and all the women running and who got elected over the years.
Thanks, Sean. This redeems your previous comment about women not being fun.
I mean, I still miss those old days, but
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, one of the things that Mary Jo, and I think I want you to shed a little bit more light on this part, Mary Jo, is when she came in, the assessor's office needed to be pretty much redone, overhauled, to say the least. Can you talk us through that? And you actually applied your background, what you have done, and how you have actually implemented something in your position as a supervisor.
Sure. So leading up to our election for at least a year, they have been talking in board meetings about the assessor's office, have been moldy. We tried to remediate. It didn't go well. Air quality wasn't okay. So they had abandoned the office on our campus that used to belong to the assessor. And there really was no path forward when I took office. So we started having some additional conversations. I put together a plan that was approved by the board, and we did a series of public meetings, which was very much reliant on my FEMA background. I've had a lot of training and facilitation and running meetings like this, where we did a series of 3 big open meetings, an open public survey, a lot of different opportunities for people to weigh in, and then brought it all to what townships do once a year, to an annual meeting, to say, this is something that the electors have to weigh in on, and we put it to the people and let them have their voice. And they chose one of several options we put together. We did a lot of analysis on each option of pros and cons and costs and what it would take to keep the building, what it would take to demolish the building and locate elsewhere. Should we buy somewhere else? Should we rent somewhere else? And an option was selected by the people. And then we've been working to make that happen. We just tore the building down finally. We're waiting to finish up the last fine grading at the site, but it felt really like a huge accomplishment when that building finally started coming down. It was years in the making, but it was a very open, transparent process and put in the hands of the people in order to make it happen.
I love that. Thank you so much for bringing the transparency back into government. This is something that I wholeheartedly believe in, and to see examples of it out there, is truly inspiring.
And now you're running for county board,
I'm running
District
for
5.
DuPage County Board. That's right. The area that's mostly the DuPage portions of Naperville and Aurora, and a bit of Lisle, which is the little bit of Lisle that I fall into. And I think a lot of what I do at the township in terms of our social services, the mental health part of our work, and the Suicide Prevention Coalition that I started, in combination with my engineering background, really come together to be able to focus on quality of life for residents in a really unique way. I've really touched the operations of the county in every way that you possibly can, except for the court system, between public works and transportation and stormwater, social services, mental health services, the whole health department. I've worked in aspects of all those operations over my career. So I feel like it's a really great alignment. And back to one of the things you said earlier too about running as a woman or as anybody who wants to run. The one thing that I tell people all the time is find something that really resonates with you and that you're passionate about and that you love, or an issue that you really, really care about before you run. Don't just throw your name in to run for something. It's really important to care a lot about it, because it's not a wedding, it's a marriage. You got to do the work after you get elected, and you have to really, really enjoy it. So
That's when the real work begins. You know, you work hard to get elected, and then you got to put up or shut up and really get things done.
Exactly.
There's a lot of things I don't think people understand about politics until they get into it. It's never as nice and easy as it seems.
Right. The campaign is one thing, but there's a lot of work that goes into doing the job every day, and to being the face of the position, to being just doing the work, to analyzing things, to digging through a board packet, to really understanding all the issues so you can make the best decision on behalf of the people that you possibly can.
And making sure people vote. March 17th, St. Patrick's Day. So before you go out drinking, you make sure you go vote, or early vote, which is, I think in Cook County, it just started, and DuPage just started.
Monday starts the wider open.
So we always encourage everyone to please go to vote, whatever side you line on, but it's just important to always be a voice.
Absolutely.
So, well, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and then we're going to come back with the 4 of us, Women on the Move. Sarah, Mary Jo, Denise, and Sean. I'm butchering names. It's hard to remember. I'm so used to being with Raza, but we'll come back. We'll talk about Weasels. We'll talk about women entrepreneurs, women entrepreneurs, public office, running, and
whatever else Sarah can throw your way.
Yeah. So stay tuned.
Life, Love, and the Grind is proudly sponsored by Rich Lewandowski and our friends at Breaker Press, Chicagoland's top choice for union printing. We're a third-generation family-owned business that has been helping unions and political campaigns win since 1976. We've been involved in hundreds of winning elections, and we get our printed materials to you on time and on budget every time. Whether you're running for the courthouse or the White House, we will take you from concept to design and from print to mail or your supporters' front yards. Breaker Press can help you reach the voters you need. Call Rich at 773-852-5733 or email rich@breakerpress.com. For all of your political printing needs, visit us at breakerpress.com.
Hi, I'm Azam
1160,
Nizamuddin.
everyone.
I'm a Democrat running for Circuit Court Judge in DuPage County. I've been an attorney for 20 years. I have worked at large law firms, small law firms, and I've had my own practice. I am recognized for building bridges and unity in the DuPage community. I have fought for victims and the accused. I'm dedicated to impartiality, to make sure that everyone has equal access to justice, and to make sure that bias has no place in our legal system.
11:30.
I grew up in the Chicago suburbs. I believe in an America of hope, an America where the content of your character matters more than your last name. With my decades of legal experience and my ongoing work to promote unity between diverse communities, I am ready to serve all the people of DuPage on the Circuit Court bench. So I'm asking for your vote. Please vote for Azam Nizamuddin for Circuit Court Judge on March 17th.
Paid for by friends of Azam Nizamuddin for Judge.
All right, if you're just tuning in, you have Sean and Sarah. We've heard from Denise Schmidt with Weezos. We've heard from Mary Jo Mullen, elected official, township supervisor, running for county board, among other things. And now we have all four of us together in the studio. We're going to talk about this women on the move and how we can build bridges through business, politics, and everything else.
Yeah, so there's a question for the both of you guys out here. What's an effective way for either an early stage candidate or an entrepreneur to create like an inclusive environment? We go into every single dichotomy, board meeting, whatever you want to call it. We have oppositions on both sides. How do we bridge that gap, guys?
We are the inclusive environment. The minute we walk in as a business owner, we've now stepped into the arena that says this is a woman-owned business. If you want my money, if you want to work with me, I get to choose. It's one of the great equalizers of being a business owner. You are your inclusive environment. And it's one of the things that we feel really strongly about, at least in my house, and I know Gene and I feel that way on business, is you proceed as you choose to be treated. And as an owner of a business, you get a whole lot more power about that. You don't have to sit back and wait for somebody to go, I'm going to choose you because you're a girl. No, you're going to choose me because I'm good.
I like it. I like that.
Yeah.
This is how it should be.
I also think kind of like bridging political and business, the first thing is listening. You know, on the business side, you have to listen to understand what your potential client wants, what your potential partner wants, really understanding people. And on the political side, that for me, being on our board, that's what it took a lot to kind of bring us together, I think, was really listening to each other and understanding what each of us were trying to accomplish, and that we were all really on the same side, that we're all there for the right reasons and for the people that we served. And the second part is really being open and authentic, which is why Weezos really like resonated so much with me. Is if you aren't yourself and you have up these weird walls in business or politics, people are going to see that and recognize that, and they're not going to be comfortable with you. So that complete authenticity and honesty is really important to building trust, and whether it's a trustful relationship with residents or it's a trustful relationship with your clients.
You know, I appreciate that. And again, you brought back transparency, you brought back trust relationships. And again, that authentic self really means a lot when it comes from any aspect of your everyday life to, you know, running 3 kids around the house as they're waiting in the conference room right now for mom to wrap up the show. No, that really builds that environment for us, and that is what historically, that is what women have been known for. That is how we build our economies of scale. That's how we grow as a unit. We start off in our house and then we scale back out. We scale back out in politics, in government, in any aspect that we touch. So inclusion and women empowerment, I guess, kind of go hand in hand. So thank you for that.
So it's funny too, when my first meeting of WISOs was January of 17.
If you haven't figured this out, Mary Jo is a WISO sister. Yeah.
A lifetime sister.
Yes, you are.
And my first was January of 2017. We were in the middle of running. I went to this meeting and women were introducing themselves, warm, open. One stood on the chair to make her introduction. It was hilarious.
Vanessa,
it was
yes.
fun. Yes.
Vanessa's really short. She needed to stand on a chair.
And it was just so much fun. And I learned a lot in that short, brief time over lunch that I walked up to Denise afterwards. I'm like, here's my credit card. I don't care what you charge me. I need to be a part of this forever. And that's how I kind of joined. And I had no idea at the time until we sat down later that was a really early experience for you too. You really had just kind of taken on this leadership role.
I was very, very blessed that when I became a part of WISOs, Jean LaValle, our founder, was at a point where she needed to be able to scale this organization because it was really starting to take off. And there were so many women who wanted to become a part of this. But Jean's area of expertise is creating this phenomenal thought pattern around things. And I happened to be there at the right time to be able to say, okay, my expertise was in running organizations and helping to scale them. So we were right place, right time, but truly a balanced fit. We had partnered 2 months previous to Mary Jo's first meeting.
I had no idea.
And they had no idea. It was like, oh, sure, there's a lady handing me a credit card. Okay. Yeah. I don't know what we're going to do, but I like her, so let's keep her forever.
But that authenticity drew me in. And there are times that I go to WISOs, not because it's for my business, not for any other reason of, I just need to be with my tribe right now. And these are my women. These are women who understand where I am, what I'm doing. And because it's so open and authentic, I know I can be myself, which sometimes in public is hard to do when you're in politics, right? Mm-hmm. It's hard to let some guards down and wonder, okay, I don't know you as well. Maybe what are you thinking of me? Do you have some ulterior motive? I think it's hard sometimes. I know I can walk into WISOs and it's always just everyone being themselves.
And I would say probably 95% of the women in WISOs don't know Mary Jo on a political basis at all because they don't live in DuPage County. And that's not who she presents herself as at the meeting. She is a phenomenal business person. As a matter of fact, we've tapped her on the shoulder to say, hey, you better teach about process management because a whole lot of us could learn on that. But that's not who she is when she walks into a WISOS meeting. She's not even just Mary Jo, the business owner. She's just Mary Jo. And that's what our great wish is for everybody that participates with us is, yes, we all have that same thing in common. We all own a business. But beyond that, who are you? What do you need from the woman who's sitting at the table next to you? How can we help you? And who can you help? It is such an even playing field that our physicians and our attorneys have exactly the same amount of input and the exact same amount of support to give as somebody who may sell lip gloss for a living. It's a very unique subset of women.
So where do you see the future of the organization and the future of these young women coming into the organization, coming into business in themselves? And what is some advice that really from all three, successful, strong, powerful women in your own rights, what would you give advice to a young 20, 25-year-old woman that looks up to you guys and thinks, how do I do it?
Well, I'm going to borrow from our founder. Jean we were at the Chicago Auto Show just recently for Women's Day, and we were teaching and talking, and she made sure everybody knew that in 2009, the Dalai Lama actually said, the Western woman will save the world. Now, he didn't say a Western woman or anybody in particular, because I don't think he knows all of us, but it's a very unique way to look at things, that those women who have more intrinsic power have more to give. And where we see WESOs, my personal goal is I'd like to have a chapter in at least every state, a couple of countries worldwide. We'll get there. But I want to have that true, authentic place for women in business to go to say, I need a little help, without feeling like the piranhas are going to be nipping at your heels when you show a vulnerability. To that 20-year-old, do it. Absolutely. Do it, do it, do it, do it. I was scared spitless when I started my first business. Actually, I was scared my father was going to yell at me because he was the get a job, stay there 30 years, get a gold watch, and never, ever, ever rock the boat kind of guy. I thought he was going to kill me. And he was like, yeah, do it. Okay, this was interesting. If you're that 20-year-old out there, if you're that 30-year-old, hell, if you're that 70-year-old out there who's now thinking, you know what? I've always had this dream of doing something for myself. Do it and find what Mary Jo described as the tribe who will have your back.
I totally agree. Just do it and find mentors, find coaches, find people that can teach you along the way. So someone I met early on in WESOs was very much a fan of, and I worked with her a little bit in the beginning too. Everyone needs a coach to get you through, like to understand how to take steps in your business. You know, she's like, I coach and I have a coach. So I have a business coach also. But all my whole career, I've had mentors. It's funny, in knocking on doors for county board, there's an area of Naperville close to my house that I found in looking through my list that one of my former mentors actually lives in district. So I knocked on his door. It was one of my engineers, senior engineers. He was my boss for a long time. He was an amazing guy. But he's someone that I always look up to and think about when, I'm thinking back upon my career and some of the choices I made. He very much propelled me in engineering, where maybe not every senior engineer was looking out for the women that worked for them. He always had my back. He always put himself between me and some of the more hostile people and helped me grow. So finding those mentors in your career, in your business, in politics is really important to growing and succeeding.
You heard it. Just do it.
Just
Right?
just
No,
do
it
it.
sounds silly, but yeah, you know what? Take a chance. We can't say it enough. Take a chance, believe in yourself, go out and get it. I mean, we've seen it on every different level.
And love what you do.
Yeah,
You spend a
find
lot of time
passion.
working. Don't make it something you enjoy.
Well, I want to thank our panel here, Women on the Move, Denise Schmidt and Mary Jo Mullen. It's been exciting, and always the incredible Sarah Sadat as my right-hand lady. So Mary Jo Mullen is running for County Board in District 5, Lyle, Aurora, and Naperville. You'll see her name on the ballot March 17th or before. And Denise Schmidt, you can find her at wesosnetwork.com. That's wesosnetwork.com. So yeah, I want to thank you guys, and hopefully there's more women on the move in the future.
Definitely. Thank you so
Thanks
much
for tuning
having
in.
us.
Thanks, guys.